Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Calmly Tuned. Today, I want to share something incredibly personal. A letter from a dear friend and my own experience. It's a story about grief, resilience, and finding your way through the toughest times in life. If this feels too heavy or if you're not in the mental place to hear it right now, it's okay to step away. But if you are ready, let's go into it. I hope this offers some insight or understanding about grief. While reading the letter, I would also add in some of my thoughts. Alrighty, here we go. My dad passed away when I was 15. I did not really process my emotions until about a decade later. Because apparently my brain runs on the free trial versions of emotions, and the subscriptions did not activate until my mid-20s. My dad had cancers for years before he passed away, so I always knew that there would be a day, sooner or later, when he would leave the world. The uncertainty was a lot to deal with on top of everyday life, and being a 15-year-old doesn't help much to make sense of this. In my family, no one talks about my feelings except my dad. Once he was out of pictures, emotional support left the chat. These letters get heavier and heavier. I hope you'll buckle up. The second paragraph goes like this. My brother was physically abusive from a very young age. He would physically hit me most days. My dad stopped him when he was alive, but after that, no one was there to protect me. I was 15, and apparently, our family policy was survival of the least favorite child. My mom did not care. She lived in her own la la land and is a narcissist. For example, whenever I did not follow her instructions or orders around the house, she would say things like, "Why don't you understand that I have lost my husband? You never emotionally support my emotion. Look at others' daughter." Who say that to a daughter? The task that I did not do is things like not washing all the dishes in the sink. Yup, I heard how it sounds too. Completely nonsensical and mind-blowing, to be honest. There were worse things, but I forgot them. Or rather, my brain deleted them like corrupted files to protect my mental health. Honestly, good job, brain. Now, just jumping out of the story for a moment. If you ever feel like you used to have good memories but tend to forget emotionally or psychologically triggering incidents, this could be a sign that you are struggling with something mentally. Back to the letter, years leading up to my dad's death were rough. I was mostly left alone. I did not tell many friends what was happening. And surprise, surprise, I cry alone often, but I force myself to study hard to make my parents proud. Sometimes I show them my results, hoping for something, some reactions or anything really. From early adolescence, I learned to shut down my feelings, expectations, and emotional needs. No one told me to do so, I just learned from how people treated me. When I tried to share my feelings about my dad's diagnosis with adults, like cousins, school counselors, friends, I got shut down or ignored. No one ever checked in on me. When I first read this letter, I was crying like a mess. But anyway, that was not the point. It was very obvious that she was struggling a lot at this point. As a kid, in most circumstances, they were told to trust and rely on adults growing up. If you notice, someone who was once an extrovert and becomes an introvert, that's a really clear sign you should definitely check in with them. Do you ever remember when you talk to someone, the more you talk to them, their heads goes lower and lower? Or their body going inward or like tucking in? That can be a sign someone is going through something. It could be a low self-esteem, but it could be something more significant going on behind the scene. Back to the letters again. 3 years before my dad died, my memories of interactions with people became blurry. I was withdrawn. Barely remember conversations with teachers or friends. I kept telling myself to push through. Days before my dad passed away, things were terrible. I blocked out all emotions. My friends say I look like an empty shell walking around when I was at school, which honestly was generous. I won't go into the details of the day when he passed away. I want to share more about the psychological process after and what grief has been for me. This is my 10th year grieving. I did it alone for the first 6 years. My family was physically present but emotionally absent, like furniture that judges you. I tried to participate in their grieving, but we never connected at any point. Maybe I was biased. In the area where I was living, psychologists were not common and came with stereotypes. School counselor existed, but my school was useless. None of the teachers checked in on me after I was absent for 3 whole weeks for my dad's funeral. I was quiet and kept to myself when I was back at school. Not because I hated people or tried to be antisocial, but because I was trying to survive my home life. I feel like this is a classic example of when words lose their meaning and become too much to bear. True understanding is often found only in silence. It is in those quiet moments that the noise of the conceptual mind falls away and our heart can connect directly with our surrounding reality. I'm not sure if you have heard of the idea of the fallibility of language. It is by a philosopher, Ludwig. Essentially, it says that human language has its limitations. When an extreme experience like grief or profound love exceeds those boundaries, words fail. As the saying goes, silence becomes the only adequate response to the ineffable. Back to the letter. Looking back, my 15-year-old brain simply did not have the capacity for anything except being presentable at school and dealing with the fact that my dad was dying without a date. Every day, it felt like I was in a never-ending queue at a death registration center. The kind where the ticket machine is broken and you are pretty sure your number will be called eventually, you just no idea when. When she was describing how she walked through grief in those first few years, it was very messy and quite fucked up. So I categorized it and decided to go straight to the point about how she felt and what she experienced during those years. Year 1 of grief. Emotions block. Depression through the roof, withdrawn. One teacher still made me take a music diploma exam, and of course I failed. Honestly, that's my proudest failure. It proved that I wasn't a psychopath. I'm able to feel. I had trouble speaking. I woke up screaming at night. I desperately hoping someone would notice my pain. I would stare at adults that I care with puppy's eyes, silently begging for help. And of course, no one helped me. If they had, this story would be much shorter and far less depressing. From this experience, I would tell my younger self to talk to someone during those first years of grieving and to just lash out, break down, or melt down. You learn a lot about yourself when you let emotions surface. I wish I had taken notes about my emotions and broken them down. It might have saved me years of emotional misery. Now, if you think about grieving, it's everywhere. Messy, and your mind can feel like a storm you can't step out of. And sometimes, talking to people feels impossible because everything is so overwhelming. That's where journaling becomes powerful. Just writing it down gives you a private, non-judgmental space to just let everything loose. It's just you and your paper. There's no pressure, nothing needs to make sense. I remember a lot of my psychology lectures often revolve around treating your thoughts like a third person that has nothing to do with you. When you write your grief down, whatever it is, anger, frustrations, resentment, it can create emotional distance. There is also research backing this up, saying when you write about painful emotions, our prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that helps you think clearly, switch on. Suddenly, you are not drowning in the feeling, you are observing it, you are understanding it from a bystander point of view. When you see something from a bystander's perspective, it allows you to be more objective instead of continually submerging yourself in the emotions you are feeling. Journaling can also provide a more unfiltered outlet. It doesn't judge you, it doesn't tell you how to grieve. It can help tracking your own progress if that's important for you. Grief, for me, can feel endless, and maybe it is endless. But when you look back at old entries, you start to notice the shift. The days when you breathed a little easier, the moment when you felt a little easier. It could be slow, subtle, but real. Year 2 of grieving. I shut down completely and stopped managing anything. I made one radical choice. I left the country. I did not understand it back then, but now I see that it was the moment I chose the kind of person I wanted to become. A philosopher Ruth calls these hard choices, the kind where logic fails because the options can't be compared. So you create your own reasons and step into a new identity. And the concept of transformative experience by Laurie basically argued that some decisions are transformative. They change your value, worldview, and even who you are capable of becoming. Moving away sounds exactly that, a transformative experience. It wasn't an escape, it was the beginning of me becoming something or someone new. Year 3 to Year 6 grieving, a struggle. I was transitioning from teenager to young adult. Everything makes sense and nothing makes sense. Finally, I studied behavioral science and was seeing a therapist at college. But she struggled to walk me through my issues. I would say things like, I wish someone had empathy for me. I have no idea how to deal with this. And she would just blink and stay silent. I understand it a lot, and I pick up the cue that she couldn't help me. So I try to help her by asking, what do you think my thought process should be? It's unfortunate to say this, but not all therapists or psychologists are truly trying to help. My friend's experience was similar. Some were just fulfilling tasks or KPIs, but the outcome for her mental health wasn't helpful. It is important to explore different therapies. Ideally, you have someone by your side to help filter out the ones who suits your needs. If there's no one, that's okay. You can do this slowly. You have all the time in the world. Again, if you experience any clear physical health problems at the same time, seek medical advice. Back to the story again. No one in college seems to concern about my friend's well-being, even though she was quite an open book with her issue and struggle. In one of the lectures, she came across acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. It teaches psychological flexibility. So instead of fighting your depression or anxiety or whatever you are experiencing now, you accept them as neutral, and then you make a plan and commit to it. It's like saying I do at an altar, except the groom or bride is your coping strategy. She learned that and treated those years at uni like a 1,000-page manual on coexisting with grief. She still practices ACT to this day. When she feels overwhelmed, she tells herself this: I acknowledge your existence, you little thought maniac, but you are still not lucky enough to shine through. I do not choose you and never will. I'm walking you out of my very expensive rental space in my brain. I like that she uses the word walking instead of kicking the grieving thought out of the brain. Because with grief, I have learned and seen that it never really disappears. It's always there, and it can come out of nowhere. You can only try to be a bigger person than the feeling itself, to embrace it and walk with it, if that makes any sense. I want to emphasize that I don't think acceptance and commitments therapy is for everyone. I think the main reason it helped her is because the concept behind ACT works well with her brain. I don't think the therapy is superior to any other therapy. If you want to try therapy, I recommend trying different types of therapy and with different therapies or psychologists. Don't lock yourself into one approach or one person if you strongly feel it isn't working and you are clearly still struggling through the process. Thank you for listening to this incredibly raw and honest story. I hope it offers you some perspective or a sense of connections. Be kind to yourself. The rest of the 4 years of her grieving or up to this point would be a part 2 video if you are interested.